Photographing buildings simplified. How to take excellent photos of buildings. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Rick McEvoy, photographer, blogger, podcaster, and all things at the Photography Explained podcast. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope that you're well. This week on my blog, well, I've given you the title of the post, so let's just get straight into it. So there are 3 parts to my little mini series on photographing buildings simplified. They are taking the photos, gear, and processing. So this week it's all about taking the photos. So there's 12 bullet points. There's 12 bullet points in the blog post. Check out the blog post at rickmcavoyphotography.com. What I'm going to do here is just fly through some of them and pick out some of the most significant bits. Now, in case you don't know who I am, I'm Rick McEvoy. I'm an architectural photographer, construction photographer, real estate photographer. I'm professionally qualified in photography and construction, and I photograph buildings. I have my own website, rickmcavoyphotography.com. I've got my own blog on there, and I'm all things at the Photography Explained podcast. Other than that, I'm an all-round nice chap. There we go, we got that out of the way. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the first bullet point, which is know what photos you want to get. And I follow that up with start with the end in mind. Now, if you're sat there thinking, what are you going on about, Rick? Just think about that. Start with the end in mind. Now, the first time you go out and take photos of buildings, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about. And quite rightly. Second time, meh. The more you do this, there'll come a point, if you keep on practicing, which is very important, and I'll come on to it, when the penny will drop and you'll be like, I get it now. So you need to go out, you need to take photos, you need to practice taking photos of buildings, and you need to edit them, you need to study them, all that good stuff. And then at some point, you'll get to the point where you go out knowing what it is you're taking photographs of, and it makes things so much easier. Well, the next point, know what you're going to do with the photos. What are they for? Are they for you, for a client, for your website, portfolio, social media, to make money from? For practice, for fun, who knows? Yeah, I take photos of buildings for fun. Actually, I'm just going to turn my light down a little bit. That's a little bit bright and washing me out, isn't it? Let's try this. That's better. I look less unwell now. So, what are the photos for? It always helps if you know these things before you start. Know how many photos you want to take, or how many photos you want, should I say. Now, when I go out and take photos for a client, 30 is quite a common number for an architectural shoot. I probably take a lot less photos than you expect me to. And it's something for you to think about too. You don't have to get photos of everything. Different genre. When I'm out photographing a sunrise, which I like to do on holiday, I'm only after one photo, just one photo. So I take a lot less photos than I used to, and that simplifies everything that I do. So one thing that I will mention now that I will come on to, don't take loads of photos and then choose the composition after. Choose the composition first, okay? What's in the photos the most important thing? What I used to do is I'd take a photo from here, photo from here, photo from here, and then when I got back, I'd chuck them all into Lightroom, and I'd have a load of very similar photos. And it used to take me ages to work out which was the best one. And quite often I didn't probably pick the best one. What do I do now? I get the composition right and I take a photo and I move on. It makes a massive difference. Number 4, know how many photos you actually need. Now, not want, need. Again, I think I've covered that one. Number 5, understand the building. Well, you're photographing a building. Don't you think it'd be helpful to know something about the building? Now, if you're photographing a conventional modern house, then there ain't a lot of history to it, is there? But if you're photographing, easy for me to say, if you're photographing, I don't know, a castle, a cathedral, a palace, anything with loads of history, find out about the history and capture that history and that feel. There's so much in buildings. Then They're part of us, they're part of our history, our culture, they're part of who we are now. So just knock yourself out, find out all you can and convey that in your pictures. And it might sound like woolly stuff, but it will make a difference and it will give you things to focus on, no pun intended. It'll give you things to concentrate on to take photographs of. Next one, often forgotten. Think about the context. The building and its environment. How does the building relate to the environment? How does it interact with it? How does it affect it? It could be in a positive way, could be in a negative way, but showing the context of a building, it's a really good thing to do. And it's something that people tend to do less than other things like grabbing the big fancy headline shot. Include people or not. Well, if you include people in a photo, it's different to if you don't include people. Having people in a photo gives it a human element and it gives the building scale, it gives it proportion, and it makes it, it looks, you can see the building in it for its intended use, which normally is for people to do something in. That's what buildings are for, aren't they? But if you don't have any people in it, you've got no permission issues, no consent issues, it's a lot simpler. And I prefer no people in my photos, which I break the rule if I'm doing something like photographing a leisure centre for a client, because if it's empty, it just doesn't look great. But for general stuff, someone's texting me constantly. I think I know who that is. He's in trouble later. Be quiet. So, I don't include people through choice, and because I don't include people through choice, it's become part of my look, my thing. And that's important. It's not part of this blog post, but I'll just mention it briefly. To have your own look, your own style. If people look at your photos and know that you took them, that's a brilliant thing. Understand what is going on with the light. Photography is drawing with light. Let's not forget that. So light is, it's a free light source. It's the biggest light source and it's the best light source you can ever have. So how does it relate to the external facade? What am I talking about here? Light on the outside of a building, light on the inside of a building, directional light through a window, light giving depth, light giving textures, accentuating textures, separating areas, different light levels in different parts of buildings. I said before, lighting can give something depth and a 3D feel. Light can also change the colours in a scene. It can also give warmth, it can give coolness, but composition and light, two most important things if you take nothing away from this blog post and video other than composition is king, and use the light, study the light, make the light your friend. Very, very important. Number 9, get your composition sorted. So important, it's number 9. Composition is king. It's one of my sayings. It might not be my saying, but I use it a lot. I don't know anybody else who does. So shall we say it's my saying? Yeah, why not? It is king, and think about it. What is your composition? It is what you include in a photo. It is what you do not include in a photo. And it's what you include in a photo related to the other things in the photo. I said this before. Don't take a load of photos and pick your composition later. Spend time on the composition. Get one photo done. Get it perfect. Get the composition the best you can. Spend time on the composition and you'll save time sorting photos, save time editing photos, and your photos will be better. Another favourite saying of mine, if your composition's rubbish, your photo's rubbish. You might have the best camera in the world, you might have taken the technically most perfect photo, but it'll still be rubbish if your composition's rubbish. So get your composition right, take less photos, light, study it, use it. There you go, that's 3 things now, 3 big takeaways. Oh, I love that term, big takeaway. And now someone's ringing me, it's not going well, is it? Gear on the next episode. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah, you cannot practice too much. That's it really. There is a bit more on the blog post. Check it out at rickmcevoyphotography.com. If you've got anything out of this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to chuck a comment on there, I will answer it. I always answer every comment. Other than that, subscribe and you can get an email from me where I tell you what's going on in my head once a week, which is a dubious thing, isn't it, what's going on in my head. And I will say thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel. I hope you're well. I wish you a great week and hopefully you'll come back and listen to me again in the future. Thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe. Cheers from me, Rick.